Distinguished local colleagues, we've just witnessed the arrival of the president of our great institution, Ethics Surveyors and Valuers, in person of Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Victor Alonge. Please let's appreciate him for coming. Please. We also have our father of the day, who has just stepped in with him. We want to say apologize for coming or starting a bit late. Please, without wasting our time, let us rise up for the national anthem. Thank you very much. Let's have a seat, please. In our midst this morning, we have the 26th president of our great institution, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Dr. Chief Victor Alonge, the Awokoshi Omoluabi of Odua. Please, let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him, please. Also, in our midst, we have the first vice president, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Madam Batume Ali Mohammed. Let's appreciate him. Beside him, we have the second vice president, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Emmanuel Ma. Please let's appreciate him. Also, we have management members seated, National Secretary, National Public Secretary. We have in our midst the immediate past president, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Jumbo Amayawa. Please let's appreciate him. Beside him, we have the 24th president of our great institution, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Emmanuel Okas Wiki, also seated beside him. He happens to be the chairman of the occasion. Also, we have our past president, the 23rd president of our great institution, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Roland Abota. Please let's appreciate him where he said. Now, I'm going to our elders of our past presidents. We have the 18th president of our institution, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Emeka Honora, the Ochiri one. Let's appreciate him. And the most senior that is seated in our midst of all the presidents is the 15th president, who is Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Weke Umezuruki. Our father, we thank you for coming. Thank you for always being there to support us. Let's appreciate it. It won't surprise me that he has been here since 8:45, and he told me that when is the program, I said we'll start kick us very soon. Thank you very much. Now, finally, let us recognize the father of the day, who is Alhaji Umar Mutala. CON. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It will be unjust of me not to recognize our BOT. Is that yours? Honorary fellow. Apologies, sir. My honorary fellow. So let's also look at in our honorary fellow. Thank you very much, sir, for the reminder. It will be wrong of me not to appreciate or recognize our board of trustees. We have the chairman of the board of trustees, Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Professor Austin Otedolu seated. And we also have Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Elder Julius Unamembu. Apologies for the I hope I got the name well. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Without wasting our time, we'll be going to the next item, which is the welcome address of the chairman of the occasion. Please make welcome Ethics Surveyor and Valuer, Dr. Imam Okas Wiki for I've been notified that we should take the opening prayer before the welcome address. Please, may we stand up? My sincere apologies for that. Will we take the last stanza of the national anthem as our opening prayer? Media, could you please project that for us? After the count of 2, 1, 2, go. Amen. Now that we're taking the prayers, may I humbly request I will move on to the welcome address of the chairman of the occasion, Essence of Dr. Emmanuel Okas. Let's welcome him as sponsor.
Your Excellencies, Presidents of the Nigerian Institution of Essence of Laws and Values, Essence of Law and Chief Victor Adekunle, the first Vice President, second Vice President, the Chairman of Board of Trustees, and other members of Board of Trustees here present, past Presidents here present, especially the 15th President, Essence of Law the members of National Council here present, fellows of the institution, noble police. It is with a great honor that I stand before you today to address you as the chairman of this ceremony. This is a ceremony that you have all been wanting to hear for the past 1 year. It is with honor to welcome you all to this significant event, which is the 32nd edition of the J.W. Equoya Memorial Lecture that is holding in this world today. I am deeply honored and delighted to stand before you today as chairman of this momentous occasion, organizing in honor of the first Nigerian to study estate management, the first Nigerian to qualify as a chartered surveyor, the first estate surveyor in Nigeria, a family member, a pioneer president and chairman of council of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Managers. Estate surveyor will be remembered for the legacy of uniting his contemporaries around a common goal of having an umbrella body for practicing estate surveying and valuation profession in Nigeria. The vision pursuit of his actualization, enforcement of his objectives, and realization of the collective potential and shared values of members of the profession. For me, and I am sure for many of us, that it is impossible to imagine the highlights, the impact of our profession is making in national development without the contributions of Essence of Law prayer, as manifested in superheading the laydown of the structure and foundation for the institution growth and development that we are all enjoying today. Under his able leadership, the first annual conference of the institution was held in Ibadan in 1970. The first council of the institution was elected at the conference. The first annual general meeting was held, and the first constitution of the institution was adopted. It was under his watch that the institution organized its first national workshop in Lagos in January 1971. The theme of that workshop was Nigerian land law. The late legal luminary, Chief G.O.K. Ajayi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, gave the keynote address, while the late Attorney General and Minister of Justice of Nigeria, Chief Richard Akinjide, SAN, presided over the landmark event. It is also on record that the institution was admitted into the International Real Estate Federation, IASV, a worldwide business networking organization for all professionals associated with the real estate industry in June 1972, when J.W. Ekweyo NIESV. As a mark of honor to the man who has come to become the symbol of the institution, in recognition of his groundbreaking and pioneering role in putting in place a structure that has brought estate surveying and valuation practice into revenue in Nigeria. The John Wood Ekweyo Memorial Lecture was established as a standalone event by the institution for the past 32 years. I think the Nigerian Institution of Justice for Girls and Families deserve commendation. Thank you very much. I think the Nigerian Institution of Justice for Girls and Families deserve commendation for ensuring that we preserve the exemplary and inspiring legacies of the erudite essence of their John Wood Ekweyo, and for sustaining this important platform for constant introspection and action on professional and national development that were all contributing to the development of our country, Nigeria, and Africa in general. Because I'm aware that we have a lot of our professionals, assets of yours and others who are practicing outside the shore of this country, and their contribution in those countries where they are practicing cannot go unmentioned. I'm honored and delighted to share this momentous occasion with you today, an event in honor of the memory of a pioneering figure in our profession, a dearly beloved saint, whose life and legacy continue to illuminate our paths. He has given us light, he has shown us the way, and we have lived that way. Most of what we remember about him today is so much important lesson for those of us who have held leadership position in our institution and also elsewhere, because he demonstrated that it is possible to live with selflessness, consciousness, and integrity. Please, can we clap for James? And with the permission of the President, they will just give him a 1 minute silence for showing us the way. In the soul of our departed President and all other members of the institution, rest in the bosom of the Lord. As we listen to the lecture that will soon be delivered by the keynote speaker, Essence of the John Wood Ekweyo, the 25th President, titled From Compliance to Competition, Positioning Abuja Government, Framework for Investment, Confidence, and Revenue Growth. Let us remember that the greatest attribute we can offer our departed leader is in living out the ideas he stood for: service, courage, integrity, open and inclusive approach to governance, unwavering commitment to the growth and development of our profession and our nation Nigeria, and generous disposition to all. I would like to congratulate my noble colleagues who will be formally transferred to the fellowship grade of our institution in 24 hours on their achievements so far, and I wish them advancement along your career path. I pray that God Almighty will continue to protect and guide our leaders. God Almighty will continue to help us to bring out leaders that will be exemplary for the Nigerian nation. That one day we will have an SS of who will be the president. Thank you, and God bless you.
Let us appreciate the Lord. Let us appreciate the Lord. If there are two things that let me see. If there are two things that I picked this morning, when S.S. Obianwala John Mukwege showed us the way. First president, and they have great objectives and go for this noble decision. Also, the second thing I will pick is that very soon, the next year, and S.S. Obianwala will be the president of this great nation, Nigeria. I believe we should clap for him. He will come to pass. Without wasting our time, I will be calling upon our great, the 26th president of our institution, our own president, Swagalicious, hardworking, effective, committed, diligent, S.S. Obianwala, Chief Doctor Victor Alumne, Yàwó Kọ́ṣe Ọmọlúwàbí of
Wait, bend down, just bend down first.
The first vice president, Mr. Sabio Akbalaba, the second vice president, Mr. Sabio Dr. Manuel Mark, the father of the day, my mentor, and my benefactor, Alhaji Dr. Umaru Dr. Zero. The chairman of GAY, S.T. Sabio Akbalaba, Dr. Chief Imam Kaswike, the guest speaker, S.T. Sabio Akbalaba, John Mayo. I'm sure he's waiting for me to add them and I. Past president and the vice past president.
Pick the man now, you talk about the man now.
Somebody that I can comfortably address as my father. S.T. Sabio Akbalaba, Dr. Weke Ubezowike. Thank you so much. Past president, Emeka Onola, change the one. I think I saw the chairman of the board of trustees, the past president, our own past president, my very good brother and friend. I want you to laugh before I call your name. Pastor the roller coaster, you're welcome. The chairman of the BOT, Professor, I can't see you. All members of the board of trustees, of course the management committee members, Senior fellows, if there is any classification like that, because I can see some very senior fellows here. Fellows, distinguished noble colleagues, good morning. First of all, before I start my address, I want to call attention to one thing. And this year, we separated your memorial lecture from fellows in Bosch. And it's for a purpose. When it started, this is how it used to be. And the reason why it was like that was so that the significance of this event is not actually lost on other programs that we have dedicated to it. It is important to continue this particular arrangement. That was how JWA was established to bring out, to let the public know this great man, this father of this profession, what he has done, and then to also use it as a platform to make a contribution to current national issues. And the paper we presented today will then receive proper media coverage. Another occasion, the induction ceremony normally partiality. So that's why we separated it, but I think it's the right thing to do. So the secret and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome you all to this auspicious occasion. Good morning, of the 32nd memorial lecture in honor of a pivotal figure in the Nigerian Institute of Ethics and Values in Nigeria, our pioneer president and chairman of the council of this great institution, Estate Surveyor and Valuer John Ekwe, a diligent pacer who ignited the movement that inspired the formation of this global institution. The chairman of the organization has said a lot that dealt with the history and its contribution. But alongside his contemporaries in the president of Estate Surveyor and Valuer, Papa Josiah SQF, all blessed memories. And our Estate Surveyor and Valuer, Additional Papa Antola LLSO, and other living foundation members. DSC John Ekwe championed the idea of erecting structure that has made this profession, Estate Surveyor and Valuation profession, prominent, recognizable, and impactful in Nigeria and beyond. Leadership, as Honorable Myers articulated, is the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivation, and passion, generation by vision, produced by conviction, and ignited by supply and by purpose. ESP John Ekwe evidently related all these qualities. Paying homage and tribute to him is a moving privilege for me because it evokes many memories of unique style and professional depthness that made him successful in galvanizing his contemporaries into turning their shared aim of forming the Estate Surveyor and Valuation profession into an unstoppable action. This profession will remember him with gratitude, and I'm particularly delighted and privileged to have been accorded the honor to address this August Assembly today as the President of the institution in memory of this revered and great profession. Heroes are never remembered for the amount of work they had, but for the fulfillment to the hearts of those they came across while on earth, and the impact they had on humanity. ESV John Ekpeyon was a man of vision, a refined and unified man to have done a gap of professionalism. The name ESV John Ekpeyon has come to evoke and represent a byword for service, honesty, transparency, courage, and integrity. He was a pure professional, propelled only by a desire for the best he could offer this profession. Our nation and humanity, for our profession to be associated with such great mind symbolizes an identification with the ideals of service he devoted his life for. It is in this context that I commend our commitment to maintaining his memory by dedicating all of us in the profession to these ideals through the memorial of justice. Like many of us in the profession, I've always admired the late John Ekpeyon as a role model, a quintessential transformational leader. I've been struck by his passion, by the unobstructed seriousness of his delivery, the fire of devotion to duty that burned so steadily within him, as well as the gentleness and compassion with which he engaged with his contemporaries and colleagues to establish the Nigerian institution of estate surveyors and valuers. These qualities resonated with all the people around him and exemplified the dedication and integrity which he represented. Local colleagues, his inspiring role and unwavering commitment to the establishment of our local profession of estate surveying and valuation in Nigeria will forever be cherished. That we owe immeasurable gratitude to this great promoter and defender of professionalism whose sacrifice and commitment have few parallels in our profession and in our nation is not an understatement. I congratulate all of us for the privilege of being alive and well to participate in this important and memorable program. 56 years after the founding of this great institution, we have kept faith with the vision of estate surveyor and valuer John Ekpeyon and other founding fathers. We have preserved, built, and we keep building on the foundation they laid. The institution of 107 foundation members at inception has produced several thousands of estate surveyors and valuers 56 years ago. The profession operates in prominence today and has become a very critical stakeholder and dependable partner with the government in national development, particularly in the areas of policy formulation, land administration, asset management and administration, housing, project development, among others. Clearly, this confirms that Nigeria of estate and values has entered into a new trajectory, one in which we are determined to harness our collective energy in order to realize the long-cherished aspiration of shaping the destiny of our nation. While the horizon has not yet been fully reached, the profession has entered into the correct path and has gathered the necessary momentum for surrounding the challenges, surmounting challenges, inhibiting our impact and relevance. An issue that clearly was one of the great concerns to the late estate surveyor and Ekpeyon. The theme of today's lecture, from compliance to competitiveness, positioning Abuja land governance framework for investment confidence and revenue growth, succinctly captures the vision of the man whose legacy we are celebrating today, who in conjunction with his fellow foundation members drafted the objectives of the institution, one of which is to promote general interest of the profession and to maintain and extend its usefulness for the public good, and advising members of the public. government departments, statutory bodies, local government, associations, institutions, and such like bodies on all matters coming within the scope of the profession, and to initiate and consider any legislation relevant to the objects of the institution, including land administration. Interestingly, NIESV John Ekpeyo organized the first national workshop of the institution Nigerian landlords in Lagos in 1971, and I think the chairman of the commission has actually given us more information about that. Abuja is a very strategic city. Its status as the capital of the most populous nation and the fastest growing economy in Africa has led to a steady increase in demand for land by local and foreign investors, meaning that healthy tenure government system is crucial to enhancing investment, income generation, and development objectives. And I think the other thing that Nigeria supports this in world round is that Nigeria has been adjudged as the fourth fastest growing in growth economy in the world. And I think that is a commendable feat for our nation, in spite of most negative stories we hear. And I think the nation deserves a lot of applause. Today's guest speaker and the 25th president of the Nigerian National University of Wales and Development, NIESV John Osarume Amayabo, is expected to give detailed insight into the theme of the lecture. I'm expecting the surge of energy in his presentation. Remarkable insights that will signal the beginning of a new paradigm of positioning Abuja's land government framework for investment confidence and revenue growth. I enjoin you to make good use of this epoch-making lecture. Once again, I welcome every one of us to this memorial lecture, especially the father of the day, who is also an honorary fellow of the institution. Even as I call on all to celebrate the life and legacy of Essence of your father at John Ekpeyo, for the betterment of our profession and society. Noble colleagues, thank you all for listening to me. Long live the memory of John Ekpeyo. Long live the memory of John Ekpeyo, our past president. Long live the generation of Essence of your fathers, and long live the Federal Republic. Thank you very much.
I believe we can do better than that. I believe we can do better than that. Before I call upon the keynote speaker, please let's keep clapping, let's keep clapping. Let's keep clapping. I believe we can do better than that. Before I call upon the key speaker, many years ago I was in the four walls of a tertiary institution, and we were having a lecture. And me, going to the lecture, I came into the class, and I noticed that the lecturer kept saying, "Do you understand?" Everybody said, "Yes, I understand." "Do you understand?" I had a friend that was sitting right in front of the lecturer, and after the lecturer was done with the lecture, I walked up to my friend and said, "Please, what did the lecturer, what was the summary of the topic?" And he said, "Please, I don't understand." And I said, "What you were saying, I understand." So what am I trying to say immediately? Today you'll be listening to the keynote speaker. I want you to be attentive, soul, spirit, and body. Please As I welcome Essence of Bella Bala, John Amayo, Emena, who is just appreciating my support. Mr. President, please permit me to stand on already established protocol. However, I will have to specially recognize the past presidents that are here present, because in our great institution, we have seniority as presidents. And when you get to that committee, you know that currently I'm the baby in the house, and I serve the team in the committee of past presidents. And let me especially recognize our father, past president, Ms. Ruki, who is here. Let me also recognize the Uchendu one Chief Medical Lawyer. And let me also recognize Sir Roland Akonte. And of course, my immediate boss, Chief Okas Imawoke. Once again, I know we have our president here, as I said, he's the one that gave me permission to do the others. Mr. President, I appreciate you, sir. I also want to especially recognize our Papa here. When I was president, I remember paying the visit to him as one of our honorary fellows. We are very grateful to have you here. It's not easy, and I know Mr. President did a lot to make you to be here. Thank you, sir, for coming. As you already know, I am Essence of Bella Sarume Amanya, the immediate past president of the institution, and by the grace of God, a member of the National Institute, NIESV. I am deeply honored by your presence, and now invite us to reflect together on the topic from compliance to competitiveness, positioning Abuja's land governance framework for investment confidence and revenue growth. When I was called to pick a topic, I looked at, okay, we are doing this thing in Abuja. We need to speak to government here. So I decided to choose this topic for this lecture today. I know I also thank God that the projection is on now. So it's like a policy paper. At the end, you will see the recommendations we will make it to government. I just hope that they will make use of it. Now, beginning with the introduction. That's the outline of the screen. In contemporary urban economies, land governance has evolved far beyond its traditional administrative role. According to the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, land governance is no longer confined to issuing titles or enforcing zoning regulations. It now operates as a strategic economic instrument, one that shapes investors' perception, fiscal capacity, and a city's overall competitiveness. The World Bank also reported in 2024 that globally competitive cities increasingly distinguish themselves not merely through infrastructure or population size, but through how predictably, transparently, and efficiently land is governed. Riyadh, that's in Saudi Arabia, demonstrates how land governance can be positioned as a strategic lever for economic diversification under Vision 2030 in Saudi Arabia. Through large-scale master planning, integrated land use regulation, and state-led land assembly, the city is being reshaped to support investment, housing delivery, and global competitiveness. In Singapore exemplifies how state land governance can underpin global competitiveness in a land-scarce city-state. You all know that Singapore is a small island surrounded by water. Through near total public land ownership, integrated spatial planning, and long-term leasehold systems, the government of Singapore aligns land use with economic strategy. Kigali represents an emerging African model where land governance is used as a tool for economic transformation. Comprehensive land regulation, comprehensive land registration, digitized cadastral system, and clear development control have significantly reduced tenures insecurity and informal development. That is in Kigali. Now coming to Abuja. Abuja presents a compelling paradox within this global narrative. As Nigeria's federal capital territory, it enjoys intense demand for land, premium property values, and sustained interest from domestic and international investors. Yet, despite these advantages, Abuja continues to underperform in land-based revenue mobilization and struggles with persistent investor uncertainty. These contradictions signals that the core challenge is not land scarcity or weak demand, but a governance framework still anchored largely on compliance rather than competitiveness. Now let us understanding land governance beyond regulation. The United Nations Human Settlement Program in 2017 conceptualized land governance as the totality of legal, institutional, and procedural arrangements through which land rights are defined, allocated, recorded, valued, and enforced. At its most basic level, it ensures compliance with statutory rules. However, at its most advanced level, land governance functions as economic infrastructure. That is, reducing risk, lowering transaction costs, and enabling land to circulate efficiently within formal markets. In Abuja, land governance has historically emphasized control, that is, who can access land, under what conditions, and through which bureaucratic pathways. While such control is necessary, it is insufficient in an increasingly competitive urban economy. Let us look at reframing the governance paradigm compliance to competitiveness. Compliance-oriented land governance focuses on adherence to rules, procedures, and institutional mandates, while competitiveness-oriented land governance, by contrast, focuses on outcomes, investor confidence, market efficiency, fiscal yield, and urban reliance. A competitive land governance framework prioritizes speed without sacrificing integrity, transparency without excessive bureaucracy, and regulations that enables rather than constrain market activity. It recognizes that investors compare jurisdictions and that land systems compete just as cities do. In this context, delays in typing, inconsistent valuations, and fragmented institutional roles function as implicit tax imposed on investment. This brings me to Abuja land reality. Abuja's spatial expansion over the past decades has been dramatic, driven by population growth, administrative centrality, and speculative investment. This expansion has pushed development outward into peri-urban districts, where informal landholding arrangements dominate and statutory documentation remains weak. The result is a split land market, a formal core characterized by high-level transactions, and an informal very largely excluded from official system. We all know, once Abuja, Asokoro, Maitama, Usetu, then when you now go to the hinterland, Ugbe, Karachi, Yanyan, and all that. This fragmentation undermines both investment confidence and revenue mobilization. Investors face heightened risk when land districts are unclear or documentation is delayed, while government loses the opportunity to integrate vast land areas into a formal tax base. Despite the presence of digital initiatives such as the Abuja Geographical Information System (AGIS), coordination, persistent bottlenecks in service delivery, data integration, and institutional coordination dilute the potential benefits of technological reforms. The consequence is a governance investment in which land demand is strong, but land confidence is fragile. Now, internally generated revenue and land governance gap. Land-based revenues, including ground rents, development charges, property taxes, and related fees, should constitute a stable and expanding component of Abuja's internally generated revenue. Yet, actual collection remains significantly below potential. This gap is not primarily a function of tax, but of governance inefficiencies that weaken assessment, compliance, and enforcement. Outdated valuation rules, infrequent revaluations, and limited use of mass appraisal techniques distort the fiscal relationship between land and taxation. When taxpayers perceive assessment as arbitrary or disconnected from market realities, resistance and avoidance will surely increase. Let us look at valuation integrity as the economic spine for land governance. Valuation integrity occupies a central position in any credible land governance framework. Accurate and transparent valuations underpin fair taxation, equity compensation, informed investment decision, and market confidence. Where valuation systems are weak, every downstream functions of land governance will suffer. Abuja's dynamic property market requires various methodologies capable of capturing spatial variation, rapid appreciation, and evolving land use patterns. Reliance on outdated benchmark or opaque discretionary practice undermines trust and increases disputes. More critically, inconsistent valuation erodes the legitimacy of land-based fiscal system as taxpayers and investors alike question the fairness of assessments. Professional ethics and independence are therefore not peripheral concerns, they are economic imperatives. Distinguished noble colleagues, because our guys are not our noble colleagues here today. Distinguished noble colleagues, I want to look at the essence of your valuers as strategic land governance actors. In a competitiveness-driven land governance paradigm, estates surveyors and valuers assume roles that transcend technical appraisal. They become strategic actors within the governance ecosystem, interpreting market signals, advising on fiscal design, and contributing to institutional reform. Their engagement in policy formulation ensure that land governance reforms are grounded in market realities rather than administrative abstraction. Through ethical practice, methodological rigor, and professional accountability, estates survey and valuer help bridge the gap between regulatory intent and economic outcome. When valuation professionals are empowered as independent contributors rather than peripheral technicians, land governance system gains credibility. This credibility, in turn, is a powerful signal to investors that Abuja land's market is governed by rules that are not only legal, but fair and predictable. Now comes to my policy recommendations and implementation strategies. In this my lecture, I'm not just giving that recommendation, I'm also advising on how to implement that recommendation. So, recommendation 1. The federal government of Nigeria should ensure an integrated land governance architecture for the federal capital territory. I have 3 implementation strategies here. 1. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in collaboration with the PS, FCT, and the DGAGs, and the Chairman of FCT Internal Revenue Service, to issue a harmonization directive establishing unified data standards, workflows, and service timelines across all land-related agencies by the second quarter of 2026. 2. The Minister of FCT, in partnership with the head of Civil Service of the Federation and NIDA, Director General, to constitute a Land Governance Coordination Council to oversee interagency compliance and dispute resolution by the third quarter of 2026. 3. The DG of Ages, under the supervision of the FCT Minister, and in collaboration with NIDA, to deploy a single investor-facing land governance portal, consolidating approvals, tracking, and escalation channels, not later than the fourth quarter of 2026. Now, recommendation 2. Before I go forward, the main paper which are circulated on platforms, I like to be published tomorrow. I have 5 recommendations, but for want of time, I chose to do 4 here. So when you go through that, you will see that. In fact, it's also an agreed version of the main paper, which is already circulated on platform. This one I'm presenting is an agreed version of it. Recommendation 2. The federal government should transform Abuja's digital land records into a fully automated end-to-end digital land market covering allocation, typing, valuation, consent, and payments within guaranteed service timelines. Now, recommendation strategy. 1. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in collaboration with the Minister of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy, the said FCT and the DG agencies to mandate legally enforceable digital workflows for all land transactions within defined service timelines by second quarter of 2026. 2. The DG of Ages, in partnership with the DG of NIESV and NIDA, to integrate cadastral planning, valuation, and transaction data sets into a real-time land market intelligence system by third quarter of 2026. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in collaboration with the Accountant General of the Federation and government licensed fintech providers, to enforce end-to-end e-payments, automated tracking, and audit trails to eliminate discretion not later than the fourth quarter of 2026. Recommendation 3. The federal government of Nigeria should formalize Abuja's spillover land holdings through simplified titling, area-based registration, and graduated tenure system. Now, implementation strategies. 1. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, in collaboration with the PSFCTA, the DGAGs, and chairpersons of FCT area councils, to design, simplify, low-costing titling and area-based registration framework for peri-urban districts by second quarter of 2026. 2. The DG of Ages, in partnership with traditional land holding institutions and community leaders, to introduce graduated tenure instruments granting interim development rights pending full statutory documentation by the third quarter of 2026. The third, the Minister of FCT, in collaboration with the Chairman of the FCT Internal Revenue Services, to integrate newly formed
formalized areas into valuation rules, planning controls, and revenue system not later than fourth quarter of 2026. And my last recommendation here, as I said, I have 5. It's in that document. It's already on council platforms and so many other platforms. The federal government of Nigeria should elevate estate surveyors and valuers as strategic land governance partners, embedding their professional independence, market expertise, and ethical standards into land policy design, valuation systems, and fiscal decision making. Now, the recommendation. Thank you. The recommendation. The implementation strategies. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, in collaboration with the President of NIESV and the Chairman of NIESV, to formally embed estate surveyors and valuers in land policy formulation and governance reform committees, beginning from the second quarter of 2026. The earlier they do this, the better for all of us in Abuja. That estate surveyors and valuers should be key, should be in policy making decision committees, not at the periphery. We should be embedded inside. 2, the chairman of NIESV, working with the Minister of Housing and Urban Development to strengthen statutory protection for professional independence, ethics enforcement, and continuous capacity development by third quarter of 2026. And 3, the Minister of FCT, in collaboration with infrastructure-focused NDAs and PPP units, to mandate professional valuation input for taxation, compensation, public land transactions, and PPP projects by fourth quarter of 2026. Distinguished noble colleagues, in my conclusion, there is no gainsaying that land governance is no longer merely about managing land. It is about managing confidence. Investors must have confidence that as it is now, it's difficult for investors to really go to the very of the Abuja to really do a lot of investment there, because they are not too sure of the title and so many other things. In Abuja, the transition from compliance to competitiveness is not optional at all. The earlier we do that, the better for Abuja. It is essential for unlocking land value, stabilizing revenue, and sustaining urban growth. By repositioning land governance as market supporting infrastructure rather than regulatory control, Abuja can convert its land assets into competitive capital. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my references will be shown on the screen, but it's also in that document I have sent out. Mr. President, sir, all the past presidents here present, the built my honorary friend, Baba, thank you so much. My incoming, all the incoming is here present. They are posted, they are seen it, so the incoming here present. No colleagues. This, and I thank you all for listening, and this ends the conversation.
Please let's have our seats. Once again, can we put our hands together for the guest lecturer for today? Thank you very much. With the permission of the President, we want to invite the Chairman of the occasion to come and summarize the lecture of today. Let's put our hands together for Estate Surveyor and Dr. Sir Ilman Okas Wiki.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, please let me stand on the existing protocol. I want to thank the guest speaker, the keynote address speaker for a job well done. He didn't just give us a lecture. What he has done is to show us the way and to show that estate surveyors and valuers are very key when it comes to land administration, land governance, and revenue generation. He started by saying that it is time for us to look beyond compliance to competitiveness, where we try as much as we can to compare our system to that of other levels, like he mentioned Singapore, he mentioned Kigali. In Singapore, he talked about reshaping the city in such a way that land and economic growth will be seen together. We are not just looking at only the land administration, but you are looking at land administration as part of revenue generation and governance. He also talked about Kigali experience, and in Kigali experience, he talked about complying with land registration. And we have seen that over 90% of land in Nigeria is unregistered. And what that means is that it is a dead capital. You can't use it for any financial institution. While in other countries, you can actually use land for financial transaction. So he's telling us this morning, that we should also look at what is happening in other countries for us to be able to build our own land system and land governance such that we can use land for economic development. In Abuja, he talked about the unfortunate situation that land revenue mobilization have not been part of the revenue generation factor in Abuja, and that is because we have not actually tapped on the land opportunities that we have, and therefore we should look at it beyond compliance, not what people want land for, but there should be competitiveness, which will also increase value. He talked about the UN appetite for understanding land governance, which is also different in what is operating in Abuja. After that, he talked about reframing the governance from compliance to competitiveness, and actually said that land reality in Abuja is because the population we have in Abuja is increasing, and because of that, the demand for land is also increasing. But you cannot see that in the revenue generation, because we are only talking about compliance instead of competitiveness. And he made suggestions on what we think as estate surveyors and valuers we should do. He talked about looking at the revenue generation through land governance and try as much as possible to close the gap between governance and revenue generation. And for any government to succeed, they need revenue. And one of the sure ways for revenue generation for government is land-based revenue generation, because that one you are sure for any land-based taxation, you are sure of the payment. Now he talked about valuation integrity, which is our own responsibility. And he said that we need to look at our valuation system. We need to also look at our valuation methodology that will actually be acceptable in our own country, instead of just looking at what is happening outside this country. And he made a suggestion that we should try as much as possible to look at the weaknesses and issues that actually undermine revenue generation through our foundation. And that is because we are not following the ethical provision of the Estate Surveying and Foundation Registration Board of Nigeria and the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. We need to look at that and see how we can contribute to that. He also said that the role of estate surveyors and valuers also is to give credibility to land governance and valuation that we need to do. In his recommendation, and I like the way he did his recommendation, he not just give us the recommendation, he did the recommendation and follow up with strategies on how those recommendations will be achieved. he talked about integrating land data on all land-related agencies. He talked about constituting land governance and coordination to oversee the inter-agency compliance of all agencies that deal on land. He also talked about the federal government to have to transform the Abuja digital land records to a full automated system that will cross across all the lines. And he made some implementation strategy. Then thirdly, he said that the federal government should formulate a policy that will actually integrate a periphery urban development, urban land holding with that of Abuja land holding. Because I know that Abuja is split into 4 phases. We are filling the first phase, filling the second phase. We are going to the 4th phase. But you find out that the design and the master plan of Abuja have been distorted, and he is talking about the federal government should try as much as possible to see how those periphery should be included in the Abuja master plan. And the 4th recommendation, he said the federal government should integrate assets of yours and followers into strategic land governance as partners, and also make them serious decision-making holders in anything connecting to land administration and land governance. And he also made recommendation strategy on how that will be achieved. In his conclusion, he said that Abuja transformation from compliance to competitiveness is not just an optional, but is something that we must do in order to build up trust, and in order to build up trust and also enhance the revenue generation for the country. Thank you very much, and God bless you. On that note, I want to, on behalf of the President of the Nigerian of Estates of Yours and Followers and all members here present, congratulate our 25th President, Estates of Yours and Followers, John Bull, Osarumi, America. And he liked that title, Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Put our hands together once again for the 24th President of our institution. Distinguished noble colleagues, Mr. President, we have in our midst a father figure, and especially to the President of the institution. Please, let's make welcome Alhaji Umar Murtala, CON, as he gives us a brief remark. Let's put our hands together, please.
Gracious, most merciful. The President of the Institute of Estate Affairs, the incoming President, stand by existing protocols. I have the honor and privilege of being given an honorary fellow of the Institute of Estate Affairs. Everything which I complain about is that I have no staff. Pioneer him. If there is a profession which I would like to go back to, I'm a chartered accountant, but if there is at least a profession which I would like to study again to start the NIESV. So it's really an honor for me to be invited to be the father of the day. To this very great Nigerian who has pioneered ethics day in the country. I must congratulate all of you for organizing such a grand event. I think he well deserves it. And I must once more thank you for giving me the opportunity to be the father of the day. Like I said, I will hopefully speak to the current president and the incoming president how I can start, learning lessons and once more, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and my congratulations for organizing this grand event for the Nigerian who well deserved it, the pioneer of estates in Nigeria, in the country. And I think, as you have said, this is going to be an annual event, and we look forward to getting more of such ceremonies, such events in the great future. Thank you very much.
Please let's put our hands together one more time. Thank you, sir. We really appreciate your fatherly role in the development of our profession. Thank you very much. Now it's time for us to make a presentation of plan. We welcome the President once again to the podium. Please join me as I welcome Estate Surveyor Chief Doctor Victor Adebole Adoge, the 26th President of our institution.
Noble colleagues, I think before the presentation, it will be appropriate for us to have take one or two comments from some of our dignitaries here, especially our 15th president, who is the most senior of all of us here, and I'm sure you will like to make one or two comments. And also the chairman of the board of trustees is actually here. So, with your permission, sir, I would like to invite, first of all, the 15th president to please come forward and make some comment. I think we will just, or do you want to come here?
Mr. President, Nigerian Association of Professors and Valuers, Chairman of today's occasion, Father of the Day, the Vice President, Chairman and members of the DOT, noble colleagues, all other protocols observed. I'm so delighted to be given this opportunity to address us on the 2026 occasion of the John Wood Memorial Lecture. I thank God for the emphasis being laid on this lecture as a standalone event, with the chairman of the day first of all, and confirmed by Mr. President. This is what I have advocated over the years, because honor should be given to whom honor is due. The mix honor with any other events. Over the years, I thought it was because we were looking for money. But there are things money cannot buy. The position occupied by the Wood Memorial Lecture, money can never buy that. And we must recognize that. The other aspects of the John Wood Memorial Lecture, which I advocate, is a need for us to move out. This is not an event that should be only in-house events. It is an event we want the world to tell us how they see us. And from the time I was president, we started inviting speakers, lecturers at the John Wood Memorial Lecture to come and tell us how they feel about business and values. And for several years, I think we did benefit. I don't know, we have found out that. But now, the first president of the institution delivered the lecture. We are running out of presidents, past presidents. And so, we are going to be forced to return to what I have advocated over the years. And so, Mr. Incoming President, that's what they call you. I'm sure that what Mr. President has restarted this year, you are going to continue with it. Let's invite Nigerians who see us, Nigerians who use our services, Nigerians who rely on us, to tell us what they see about us. And what we see about the Wood Memorial Lecture, they want us to approach are the areas that they want us to improve on, and that will be beneficial for the profession.
I think the next person will be the chairman of the BOT.
The president of Nigeria, City of Nigeria, the father of the day, the chairman of the day, past presidents, fellow community members, noble colleagues. I feel delighted to call upon to address this August occasion. The event is taking a good shape. Breaking the annual lecture, possible annual lecture from the induction is very, very important. When you join us there, it's congested and the essence of the whole lecture will be lost. And the day that you want to tell the world what you do and to suggest the government things that can consider in making policy. Whatever body is very important in the development. And the projectors will produce a policy document for the government. I must appreciate today's guest speaker, John Bull Amayago, and past president. His lecture was very hundreds of beds and looking to the main issues in land policy. And I hope that this document will get the government with policy suggestions that will guide Abuja to observe to practice good governance away from what they are doing. We have done cycle we have political time. Once more, I appreciate the management commission who have this lecture and the guest speaker. Thank you, our head of the day and the chairman of the commission, Dr. Okas, very good, our husband.
Thank you very much. Please, I think the two last speakers deserve another round of applause. Thank you so much. On the issue of inviting external speakers, I think this is something that we have done in the past, and it's commendable. It is something we should do. I think we need to be deliberate about it. And I think the 15th president has already charged the incoming president to not just continue with isolating the whole Epeyon, but also getting external speakers. And even at the board, this is something we started with the Valuers Assembly. But unfortunately, it has drifted and become an MCP internally. So these are things we need to look at holistically for the profession so that we can actually move forward. I want to thank you all for your patience. I'm also speaking of external speakers. I'm sure tomorrow's program we have the Honorable Minister of Power as the guest speaker. The whole idea is when you bring people from outside, apart from talking to you about the topic, they also tell you how they feel about you. And that is actually a good opportunity to also measure yourself. So please, let's keep this going. And I'm also sure that tomorrow we are also aware that last year we adopted President of the Nigerian Senate as an honorary fellow. And tomorrow we have another very important personality, perhaps one of the leading traditional rulers in the country, if not the leading, the honor of it will be inducted as an honorary fellow tomorrow. You see, as a profession, these are all strategic because these are people that we will need in our efforts to actually take charge of what belongs to us. And I wish all of us very well. So please tomorrow, especially the fellows who will talk, make sure you are around on time. And we also expect the Vice President of Nigeria to be in attendance.
making sure that we start on time. On that note, I think it is time to present honors to those who have the first person that I have to present this award to is the father of the day, honorary fellow, and is in state about having seen and stuff. I'm sure we will discuss further with that. But unfortunately, still are meant for people who went to the University of Kentucky to study estate management. And they went through process. Unfortunately, the other truth is no longer. The past presidents are here and council they are busy. So we will discuss it at the council. So on that note, I invite the father of the day, Elijah Umaru Butala, CON, to please come forward and collect his award. The next person will be the chairman of today, our own. You see, some of you, probably you have been seeing NIESV Chief Dr. Imao Kasbike. You will think his doctorate is honorary. No. He's not an honorary doctor. He actually studied, went through the rigors, the procedures, defended his critical analysis, and was awarded by the University Council that doctorate degree. So he is actually doctor. What did I say? Doctor, not honorary. My own doctor is honorary. If you call me doctor, it's honorary. But his own is not honorary. So please can we appreciate the chairman of today? Last but not the least is our keynote speaker, my predecessor in office, Estate of Yohabara Jobu Amayabu, MNI. He also studied for his own MNI. Well, anyway, there is no honorary MNI. To all of us who, especially our special guests, we thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.
Please, we'll quickly take a group photograph. The father of the day, the chairman of the occasion, the keynote speaker, and the president, the four first. That's the order of the photograph. The keynote speaker, the father of the day, and the chairman of the occasion. Quickly now to the first vice, second vice, national secretary. Please quickly join them. And then we have the past presidents. Thereafter we have the BOT. Please, we have past president. Let's quickly join so that it will be as snappy as possible. The past presidents. Okay, thank you all. Oh, BBOT. The BBOT member, please. Okay, can we find space for all the council members? That's the last one. All the council members, can you come and stay behind? All council members, please. All council members, please just come and stay behind. Thank you very much for coming. You can just stay behind. There is a space behind. There is a space behind. On the stage or behind, some on the stage, some behind. Some can stand. Thank you very much. We invite the first vice president, Estes Abdullah, Malan, Muhammad Ali Baturi to take the vote of thanks.
Mr. President, sir, our final of the day, thank you very much for your time, thank you for your patience. Our past presidents, presence. We thank you for giving us your time. Chairman and members of our Board of Trustees, we thank you very much for honoring our invitation. Our new fellows, we thank you for being here today. And remember, tomorrow,
Please, let's maintain some silence in the hall, please. The program is not over. Please.
remember tomorrow is going to be your day. I want you to be here early. So that our distinguished guests will not come and be waiting for you. Thank you very much for being here today. I will thank you all. Any other thing?
Thank you, the first vice. We shall all rise now as we take the closing prayer. The last stanza of our national anthem shall be our closing prayer. Shall we all rise on our feet, please? One, two, go. Grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen. Thank you very much. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.